Hi, this video is about Dagget Lake in Berry County, Michigan, and a few area reports on 4/29/22. The three cams used in this video are a GoPro Hero 10 facing backward on a chest strap with 1080p with 120 frames per second. GoPro number 2 has the Hero 5 Session on a head strap facing forward. GoPro number 3, Hero 5 Session facing backwards and head strap. Dagget Lake is located in Berry County, Michigan, and is surrounded by 38,000 acres of state land. In the red is the route of the hike that I'm going to be taking, and the blue will be a continuous video, and when I get to the green X, I'll stop right there. On the way back, I'll stop at these three green X's and this yellow spot here and go over these areas. First facing Hero 5 camera on my head strap was pointed a little bit too downward to use much of the video, but I do use it in a couple spots. Berry County, Michigan area reports. And if you look up BFRO reports in Michigan and Berry County, all you'll find is this Class B report of some sounds in hickory corners behind somebody's garage. Not that exciting. I got some better ones here for you. In this encounter that happened in 2016 in the Yankee Springs Recreation area, I actually got the witness to go on camera, which doesn't happen very often.
Alright, I left here. I was going to Sam's to meet a friend. And it was kind of light out, but the more I walked to Sam's, the darker it got. And I got to Oakley Road, just over that way. I heard some scuffles, and all of a sudden I seen a deer, like super fast. And then I didn't see, it looked like a deer, I know it was a deer, but behind the deer there was something on two legs, and it was very much faster than the deer, okay? And when it got into the woods, it made like a god-awful sound, and it like tumbled the deer, what it sounded like, but it was like a roar, and I heard some bushes and everything, and then I heard this god-awful roar, and I heard blah, and that was it. And I was scared, so I ran towards the light. And I ran the way that it happened. My dumb ass didn't go back the way it came. I went towards the other way. But yes, I seen it. I don't know what it was, but a shadow figure on two legs got that deer. I didn't see it get the deer, but man.
On the phone.
What was it, about like 5 feet tall?
I don't know, man. Maybe a little. I don't know. But I just seen two legs that happened so fast.
How tall was it?
I don't know.
You seen it?
It was a shadow. It was like, it was shorter than me, but it was on two legs, and it was super fast. I could see the figure of the deer, and all of a sudden, boom. And I can even go over and show you where it went. I can show you where it was at.
Okay.
And I'll show you the swamp, where it went in and everything.
And during this video, I'll do some voiceovers from other reports in Yankee Springs and Coates Grove, Michigan. This print was found on West Sager Logging Road near Dagget Lake on 2018 by another researcher, and I couldn't get there in time to cast it before it rained. And this is the ride-in on the old logging road, West Sager Road, that leads to Dagget Lake. This is Dagget Lake, Berry County, Michigan. People on horses. This is Dagget Lake, of course, and this lake is only 15 acres in size. It's pretty small. It's approximately about 18 feet deep at its deepest point. You expect to catch bluegill, largemouth bass, and walleye here. It's a good little fishing lake, and it's surrounded, like I said, like a lot of state land. This point right here is a particularly good sandy swimming spot, and you used to build a camp here. You can no longer anymore. People took advantage of it and stayed here all summer long, and you can no longer camp here, but this was a really good spot. Well, these next two reports came from Phil, the guy I interviewed earlier in this video about his encounter, and one led to another from a couple families out in southern Gun Lake. So Phil and his girlfriend tell me about one of their friends over on the southern part of the lake that a night or two ago claimed to have a monkey or orangutan, a small one, running around their yard. So we went over to go check that out and talk to them about it, and there was a family of 4 over there, and they would not go on record about it, but they told me in great detail of this supposed monkey or this orangutan that was walking around the yard calling out to something, probably its mother. So Phil takes me to go see these people over on the southern part of Gun Lake. Off of Wildwood, where the deepest part of the lake meets the road right there, and the southern part has a swamp on the other side of it, and then there's a road that goes back to the private lake called Fallen Lake, right in that area. Well, we get to this house, and there's a family of 4 there, and they're a little bit reluctant to talk about it at first, so they start talking about it as if it were a monkey or some sort of orangutan running around their yard at dusk a couple evenings ago, and their neighbors, and I get to that. So they tell me about this little guy running around their yard for a few minutes, and it was calling out to something. They expected its mother, and they said every time that it called, the frogs and the crickets and everything that were singing would stop and be silent, and everything would go quiet when they'd make a call. And this went on for about 5 minutes before it wandered into the woods. And then one of the other family members, probably in their 20s, told me a little bit more, because they kind of knew it wasn't some escaped monkey or an orangutan or something like that. And then, especially from what this guy tells me, up the hill where there's some dumpsters further along Gun Lake, at night he saw this same monkey with a bigger one that was about 5 feet tall. He said it looked like a black kid in a hoodie running across the street away from the dumpsters at night. So they kind of had an idea what it was, but they wouldn't go on the record for it in any way whatsoever. I couldn't get him on the audio, I couldn't get him on camera, but they told me that their neighbors said they saw the same thing that night, and to go talk to them, they might be a little bit more reasonable. So we headed down there. Alright, we headed down to this other neighbor's house that they told us about that had a sighting, and it sits on Wildwood Road on the southern part of Gun Lake. The house itself, it sits in front of a swamp, and the front of the house is facing Gun Lake. Behind the house, the swamp, and behind that swamp is Fawn Lake. Fawn Lake feeds into the swamp feeds into Gun Lake. This little brook, or this little teeny tiny creek, goes around the house almost like a moat, and it goes underneath the road into Gun Lake there. Well, I get up to the house, there's somebody home. We knock on the door, and a younger guy in his mid to late 20s answers, and this is the grandson of the owner of the house, we come to find out. And we ask him about, the sighting that he saw of this orangutan. And he was kind of surprised that we even knew about it. We told him that the neighbors also had this sighting, and they told us to come down here and talk to you. So, yeah, what do you know? I asked him. What is this orangutan that you saw, and what exactly happened? And so I got him to talk about it. And the whole time he's thinking, this is an orangutan, he tells me, that the Chicago people, he thinks, have as a pet, and they just left it out and went back to Chicago, and this thing was wandering around. And him and his grandfather got back from the store, and they pulled in to their driveway, and this orangutan was in the driveway. And they actually had to wait for it to get out of the way, and it kind of wallowed across the yard and went to the little brook, and went to the backyard, followed the little brook, and kept on going into the swamp, and that's all they saw of it. They really thought it was their neighbor's pet orangutan. Then I made the mistake of telling them that it wasn't an orangutan. This was 2016, and I was still pretty green at the time. I didn't know that you were, supposed to say things like Bigfoot and Sasquatch. People that really just can't handle the truth, and it freaks them out. I told them that there was no way that was an orangutan running around down here, and then it was probably a baby Sasquatch or baby Bigfoot, and his eyes got really huge, and he kind of freaked out. I gave him my card and said if his grandfather wanted to talk, to give me a call, and I never heard from them again. They were convinced it was an orangutan, but I pretty much know it wasn't an orangutan. I immediately started to sense here that something wasn't right about that stump. It's not visually so much as just that feeling that sound's coming towards me and that something's just not right. And I try not to ignore my gut feeling. Here, let me show you. Well, I found over the years in my research that they tend to hide in areas like this. fallen tree with a large tree root mass sticking up like this and a hole in the ground. Makes a perfect place to hide. And right now there's not a whole lot of cover out here, and I'm getting these weird vibes from this thing. And the color distortions that's happening right now, as you're seeing around that stump, whether it be the light and the camera, both, it happens in all the cameras, and it's happening with my eyes. I can't see any particular shape in that root mass even when I get close. I'll show you here. I'm getting closer here, and I'm thinking about taking a stick or even touching the root mass and seeing if it's dirt, but something in my head is telling me not to come any closer, and I don't go any closer. I should have, and what I should have done, and I will do next time, is take a flashlight, and or I should use the flash on the camera or something to try to get a little bit better look at this. But this is what I got, and I'll try to break it down. Now this is the GoPro Hero 5 backward camera on my head strap. Now, no matter where the camera moves, that root mass in that area is always blurry. Always blurry. I'll show you some stills over here in a sec. I decided if there really is something there, to let the backwards cameras do their job and just pretend there's nothing there and walk away. But I can't ignore my instincts either. Come up. This is the GoPro Hero 10 backwards on a chest strap, and it's picking up some pretty weird stuff also. This is a Hero 10 backwards camera, looped 3 times and 1 in slow motion. Notice the color changes and just weird gloopy everything. I'll show you the stills. These are the Hero 10 stills, and notice how everything changes color and shape. No particular shape and nothing in detail, and this is what my eyes are seeing. And I'm surprised this camera picked it up as well. These are the stills from the forward cam GoPro Hero 5. You'll notice in this red circle a whole bunch of different frickin' shapes, changing constantly. Some of it is due to the sun being behind the subjects and reflecting off, and the rest of it I just don't know. Because the darkness and the shapes down there never have any kind of detail, but they seem to change. These are stills from the backwards facing Hero 5 on the head strap. There's no definite detail in green here. It kind of looks like a head and a forehead, maybe. And both of these green things, they all look like something could be there, but no details state whatsoever, and it changes shape constantly. Fern's starting to come up. Oh no. That just looks a little strange. Okay. Never seen that trick before. Oh yeah, wait, I have. I'm realizing, yeah, I've seen that trick before. Now keep your eyes on that stump directly in the center, way back there. Right there in the red circle. Well, like it looks like a pair of eyes and a forehead and a face kind of watching me over that stump way across there, but really can't tell since it's so far away, but this is what the other ones pick up also. This is the Hero 5 backward camera and the head strap picking up the same thing. Whatever it may be, it didn't follow me after this point. There was another time that year in 2016 when Kmart was still around and I had just parked my truck. I was inside Kmart, my truck was parked outside. I think I was in there for quite a while doing some shopping and picking up some stuff, and I came out to the truck and these people in another truck, a whole family of 4, were out there waiting for me, and they said they've been waiting in the summer heat for quite a while for me to come out of Kmart. And they had a report to tell me about that I had to go investigate. And the kids in the back seat were explaining what they heard in their backyard for the past few nights was whoop, whoop, whoop all night, and they're both doing these calls, and they're all pretty much scared and they're tired of it and they don't know what's going on and they wanted me to come over and investigate it. And I went over there for a couple nights and I went over there and talked to them about it, and they told me about all the sounds behind their shed, and they live over by Thornapple River over on the other side of M37. And what they explained, they sounded like they had a juvenile spying on the kids in the backyard for a couple nights, and it was keeping them up pretty much all night. They were a little bit scared, and that's pretty much all they told me about it. And I never did find anything, but it was kind of interesting. And they were pretty scared and shook up about it when I came out of Kmart, and they were very deadly serious about it. And I went right over there and checked it out, and I never did find anything, like I said, but it was an interesting story because most of the stuff I get, consists of people going like, oh, hey, I saw like 3 bear cross the road and they're up on their hind legs, but like they're so far away I couldn't see any details. Or another one was I was putting up a fence in a farmer's yard that's never been, plowed and never been used for farming, and I was being watched by the tree line not far away, things like that. Real short reports with not much detail. Sounds and whoops and things like that nature, I don't even bother with very much. People don't tell me about that. But since my truck is marked, people approach me with all kinds of reports, no matter where I go, especially, further away from suburban areas, far out in the country, up north in Michigan, further down south in Kentucky and southern Illinois, all the way down, and people approach me more often when I'm out in the country, and most of their reports are just consistent with that of something crossing the road. Yeah, this is a pretty young area of the forest right here. A lot of these trees are really small, but I had to show it to you at this time of the year, real early before everything just grows and you can't see anything at all because it's just like a wall of leaves and then the upgrowth from the floor. The forest grows up to about 2 or 3 feet, and it's thick as you can imagine. And the only place I've seen thicker woods is Florida, honestly. And this way I can give you a little bit of an idea of the topography and what it looks like back here before you can't see anything and you have to come back here with a machete to get back here. I've camped back here a number of different times over the years. One particular time I stayed back here maybe 2 nights, and was joined by a couple other friends on the second night, and we kept on hearing 2 feet, something on 2 feet going around the camp, circling the camp most of the night, and I thought it sounded peculiar and kind of heavy. The other guys convinced themselves that it was probably just turkeys running around. I don't think it was turkeys, but it is a creepy place here at night, and you hear a lot of different things. I think the weirdest, loudest calls I ever heard was over in Otis Lake, though. That's not far from this lake. Yeah, those calls at Otis Lake that I heard that were so loud, that happened in 2006. I was out there with somebody in a car late at night, just checking out the shooting stars and relaxing, and these calls were followed after a whole bunch of barking dogs, and they sounded like a combination of freaking coyotes and dogs. And all of a sudden the dogs stopped, and they sounded like one of them was getting torn up, and it was screaming in pain. And then we heard this call afterwards that didn't sound anything like, a coyote. It was a scream, and the intensity it shook the car. I mean, we could feel it inside the car, and it was incredibly long, longer than a human's lung capacity could ever withstand. And it freaked the guy out I was with so much we decided to leave. But I tried to convince him that there was nothing out there, and I got out of the car and walked around and tried to show him. But we ended up leaving. But that was the loudest call I've ever heard in my life. Just notice all these weird stick things and stick formations stuck up everywhere back here. I really expected to get some more activity back here, but those people that were first here, both the ones in the car and on horseback, they've been back here or in the area, looking for mushrooms or whatnot. I don't know how long they were back here. Maybe they scared everything away. This is on the 29th of April. This is really getting a little bit green here in this brush over here, and there's plenty of places to hide right over there as well. Pretty soon there will be a lot of places to hide here.
Woodpecker.
But, possibly they might have sent somebody to watch over me. I'm hiding in the distance and make sure I don't get closer to somewhere I'm not supposed to be. Coates Grove, Michigan is a very, very small, isolated town out in the middle of nowhere in farmland. It has a lot of bodies of water, a lot of little lakes, a lot of little ponds and streams all connecting them together, and a lot of farmland and private woods. The town itself actually has woods surrounded all the way around it, and there's only about a handful of old houses inside the old town. And this guy, when he was a kid, was playing in his backyard on his trampoline, what he told me, in late summer, and he had something approach him that he thought was a dog out of the woods. And he didn't think a whole lot about it because, you know, a lot of neighbors have dogs, until it stood up on its hind feet and walked towards the trampoline. He told me a lot of details about exactly what it looked like, and when I started doing my art, he said, "Yup, that's it, that's exactly what I saw." What he explained was a juvenile Sasquatch, and it made its way towards the trampoline. He freaked out and ran back in the house as fast as he could and locked the doors, and that's pretty much his whole story. But he got a good up-close look during the day when he was a kid, and it really freaked him out. It's way quiet back here. And on the way back, I'll take a closer look at some of those stick formations over there to the left. About to stop and turn around here shortly. pile of rocks is from the deforestation days. See that tree I got left? That thing's huge. I'm going to turn back from this point. So I want to test these cameras. I got a long ways to go back. Slightly different route back. Definitely imprints around here that look like frickin' feet. A boot, possibly. And they're too old to tell. Now I'm going to jump to these spots where the green X's are that have different stick formations to give you a little bit better look. I personally don't think too many humans actually go back to the swamps that'll stick up by Dagget Lake. Back in 2006, I think it was, had a really bad ice storm, but all the smaller trees got knocked over, but that's just odd. Pretty much look placed there, don't they? Even that's kind of weird. pentagram looking frickin' thing. Okay, and here's some stills of that pentagram looking stick formation here.
Oh, that's a good hiding spot.
Okay, we're coming up on this area here in the yellow circle that is a clearing with a little bit of woods right in the center, where I'm just kind of guessing that the Sasquatch would hunt and ambush deer from that area, and I put up a trail cam there once a few years ago.
All tumbled out in there. Game trail going through here, there's some deer hoofies on it. This is their hiding spot where they wait for deer to go by. Get right up in there in them trees right there. It's nice and thick. We got a breeze going here. Stay nice and cool. Wait for the deer to go by.
Okay, I'm just gonna fast forward a little bit here.
Big, right? Used to be a great snake lake here. I find a lot of snakes. I don't know what happened to that. Doesn't seem to be here much anymore.
Got a little bit of fast forward here to bring us back, and this is pretty much it for our tour here at Dagget Lake in Berry County, Michigan. I hope you enjoyed it. I have more on different lakes soon. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Helps the channel. Thanks.